Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It is May 7th as I'm recording this video. A lot of interesting news came out yesterday on the war front. First, with the United States and the Houthis. President Trump declared that we're stopping our extensive airstrike campaign against the Houthis, that the Houthis had capitulated, they would no longer attack ships. Basically, he has declared victory and departed the field of battle. Within hours of him declaring that, the Houthis, through a spokesman, came out and said, "We have not given up. We're going to keep attacking ships. This is not true." The government of Oman came out and said, "Oh, no, no, it is true. We mediated it. And yeah, the Houthis have agreed to stop doing the attacks, and the Americans have agreed to pull their carrier group out of the Middle East." Shortly after that, the Houthis then attacked the American carrier group in the Middle East, the Truman. At this point, it appears that the statement that the Houthis have capitulated is in fact quite false, because they literally started firing at ships within just hours of that statement coming out, as well as making their own statement that it was false. My best guess is that Trump thought the attacks on the Houthis were going to be a big political win. We dropped a lot of bombs. We lost a couple of Reaper drones. We spent billions of dollars, and nobody cared. No one supported it. No one opposed it. People just didn't care. And I think he just kind of said, "Well, this is stupid. Let's declare victory and get out of here." And he did. And the Houthis don't want him to set the narrative that somehow this was an American victory, so they're attacking back. It appears to me, again, this is just my theory, my opinion at this point, that this is overall a nullity. The Houthis took some damage, definitely, and the Americans really didn't get anything out of it, though, and so we're kind of getting out of there. I think the other reason that Trump got into it was the Houthis are an Iranian-supported group, and the idea was hammer the Houthis, and this will create negotiating leverage for the United States against Iran with the nuclear deal, which ultimately is not a very bad theory. That kind of makes sense when you think about it. I think the error in the calculation was that from the Iranian perspective, if all the Houthis die, okay, that's fine with them. It's kind of like Hamas. Like they're happy to support these groups to the end of the next press conference, and if they all get killed, no problem. There's always somebody else they can find who will go off and charge the guns for them, and if they get slaughtered, no problem. Move on to the next group. I don't think the Iranians particularly have cared about the attacks on the Houthis. It's just, Hezbollah is probably the group they cared the most about, and that group got, basically slaughtered by the Israelis. The Iranians have bigger problems. Second thing, and probably the much bigger thing, is India and Pakistan. So a few weeks ago, a bunch of Muslim terrorists slaughtered a bunch of Hindu tourists. And this has reignited the long simmering tensions between India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan have fought multiple wars over the last, 50, 60 years. It looks like they're starting a third one. For the last week, 2 weeks or so, there have been several exchanges of live fire along the line of control. Excuse me. And then last night, things really escalated. We had sustained artillery bombardment. We had missile strikes. We had airstrikes. Pakistanis shot down a couple of Indian jets. We had extensive small arms fire exchanges along the line of control. So major escalation in the amount of ordnance being flung at each other by the two sides. Has it become full-blown war? Not yet, but we are very, very close. The amount of combat that happened last night you could make an argument that this is full-blown war, and I think it'd be a pretty reasonable argument. I would not go that far yet. That is my opinion. But we are definitely on the precipice of it right now. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Unfortunately, there is a dearth of American leadership in the world right now. This is normally where the American State Department and Defense Department would be stepping in and trying to calm the waters. We appear to not be doing anything like that. I don't believe we are capable of doing that right now. Our Defense Department is largely non-functional. Hesketh has been firing as many senior level administrators as he can. Laura Loomer has managed to get several members of our National Security Council fired, even though she's an absolute certifiable nut job. And Marco Rubio he keeps getting more and more positions and titles, but he doesn't appear to be doing anything, which, I'm a big Rubio fan, so I'm not very happy saying that. But right now Elon has been firing every senior level staffer and administrator he possibly could in every branch of government. And so right now, a lot of our arms of the or organs of the state are simply non-functional or minimally functional. And right now, there's not an American presence to step in and try to calm things down. So hopefully, those two countries will figure out a way to get this down. A couple things to think about. India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. If this really gets out of control, it can get really out of control. They could potentially nuke each other. Now, that's obviously an extreme scenario. There's no reason to think that's going to happen right now. But obviously, with things escalating, you can't take it off the table as sort of a reasonable possibility down the road. Again, right now, very unlikely. 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, who knows? The other thing to know is that India controls 60% of Pakistan's water. They have a treaty going back from the 60s. What that basically means, though, is that India has the infrastructure to cut off Pakistan's water. This would create a huge drought, which would then kill their crops, which would create a huge famine, which, oh my Lord, aside from the fact that millions of people could die, there's also the possibility that Pakistan, a nuclear power, their government is barely functional. And if they were to become destabilized, there are any number of radical Islamic militant groups that could seize control, and that could put control of a nuclear weapon in some Taliban-esque, Al-Qaeda-esque type group. Now, that is, again, a worst-case scenario. Right now, the government of Pakistan has not been destabilized. I mean, they're never all that stable to begin with. So I want to be clear, I'm not saying these things are going to happen. I'm saying these are possibilities, and that is why this matters and why this is important and why the lack of American leadership is alarming. However, in the immediate term, is this going to have any effect on the United States? Not really. If this war spirals out of control, yes, it could have huge impacts. But so far, as of today, as of May 7th, nothing has happened there which really is going to have too much impact on us. Let us hope it stays that way. Let us hope cooler heads prevail. It appears our air campaign against the Houthis is over, and having accomplished largely nothing, didn't really hurt us. I mean, nothing really bad came out of it. But it appears that's going to be another just kind of nullity. And looks like we just have to keep an eye on Pakistan and India and really hope somebody, whether it's the Pakistanis and the Indians or a third party intervenes or someone gets this calmed down so that this does not become something that we have to really, really care about. Because if we get to where the United States has to start really, really caring about that, that means things have gotten really, really, really bad. Hopefully I have some good news later this week. All right, bye-bye.